he was a dashing officer. He was a outstanding and brilliant student throughout his studies.
उन आतंकियों को और इस हमले की साजिश रचने वालों को उनकी कल्पना से भी बड़ी सजा मिलेगी। We will pursue them to the ends of the earth.
Good evening. It has been a day of mourning, of anguish, of rage, of funerals across India. From Haryana to Hyderabad, from Karnataka to Gujarat, women, new brides, widowed, a child who lost his father on the eve of his father's birthday, shocking and chilling testimonies of how tourists were targeted on the basis of their religion, asked to read the kalma and when they couldn't, shot in the head. A brave young bride saying Jai Hind at the coffin of her husband, a naval officer who had got married just a few days ago, this month. There are 3 such young new brides who are now widows. The testimonies have been horrific. And in Kashmir, we have seen unprecedented protests, people out on the streets, desperate emotional appeals from the Kashmiri people saying, don't abandon us. It is an inflection point. The Indus Water Treaty has been suspended and the Prime Minister has reacted. To talk about what has happened and what may and could and should happen next, I want to introduce our newsmaker today. General Malik, former army chief, is with us. General Malik has been in this moment before. He is the army chief who led India to victory in the Kargil war of 1999, a war I had the honor of being able to report from the front line. And we need his wisdom, his sage wisdom, his calm wisdom today as we try and understand how we need to rally together as a country. Welcome to the program, sir. Before we get started, I would like to play out in full the Prime Minister's statements. He also switched to English at one point because he wanted to address the international community. लेकिन पहले हिंदी के स्टेटमेंट से शुरू करती हूँ. मोदी जी ने कहा, आप कल्पना भी नहीं कर सकते, यू कैन नॉट इवन इमेजिन कि हम क्या करने वाले हैं आगे. पहले हिंदी में प्राइम मिनिस्टर का बयान सुनते हैं.
मैं बहुत स्पष्ट शब्दों में कहना चाहता हूं, जिन्होंने ये हमला किया है, उन आतंकियों को और इस हमले की साजिश रचने वालों को उनकी कल्पना से भी बड़ी सजा मिलेगी. सजा मिलकर के रहेगी. अब आतंकियों की बची खुची जमीन को भी मिट्टी में मिलाने का समय आ गया है. 140 करोड़ भारतीयों की इच्छा शक्ति अब आतंकी आकाओं की कमर तोड़ कर रहेगी.
Terrorists will be reduced to dust. That is the big takeaway from that message. General Malik, with your permission, I will also play out the Prime Minister's rare switch to English on home turf. This was done to address the global audience clearly, where he says that India will chase these terrorists to the ends of the earth. Take a look.
Today, from the soil of Bihar, I say to the whole world, India will identify, track, and punish every terrorist and their backers. We will pursue them to the ends of the earth. India's spirit will never be broken by terrorism. Terrorism will not go unpunished. Every effort will be made to ensure that justice is done. The entire nation is firm in this resolve. Everyone who believes in humanity is with us. I thank the people of various countries and their leaders who have stood with us in these times.
General Malik, let's get reactions now from you. How do you read the Prime Minister's comments? It is very unambiguous, I thought, of what we are headed. It's clear, I could be overreading, that there is going to be a combination of reactions. Diplomatic ones have already been taken. Military reactions, I'm sure, are being examined. But something has shifted. This is being called India's October 7th. Your first thoughts, sir?
Barkha, I have known Prime Minister Narendra Modi for a long time, from the time he was a Chief Minister. And over the years, one has been watching him. Once I have also met him a few times. But I have never come across the kind of strong messaging that he has done, both to domestic audience as well as to the international community. I have never come across the kind of determination that he has shown. The way, one could see from his eyes, the way one could see from his demeanor, that he went out of his way to make peace with Pakistan. Many of us at that time wondered, why is he doing it, having known Pakistan's behavior for such a long time. But today when I see it, I also see the determination to fight terrorism emanating from Pakistan. He has not named Pakistan, but the way he has put it across, कि हम उनको मिट्टी पलीत करेंगे या जमीन पे, it is obviously, and all of us, you know it and I know it, that the terrorists who have crossed the border and carried out this very horrific incident in Pahalgam, they have been supported by Pakistan. They have been supported by the ISI, and ISI is controlled by Pakistan Army. So I think the message is very strong to both Pakistan state and particularly those who are sponsoring terrorism.
Let's start, sir, with the Indus Water Treaty. In all the conflicts between India and Pakistan, the treaty has never been suspended. The logic used to be that India does not want to punish the people of Pakistan by turning off the tap on the water that is flowing into Pakistan. Our fight is with the Pakistan state, not with the people. However, clearly something has shifted. The messaging is strong. It's not immediate. The implementation cannot be immediate. It's a complex thing, but the signaling is very strong. How do you look at the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty?
Yes, firstly, I must say that what you are saying is absolutely right. India has been dealing with three entities of Pakistan. Public, we never wanted to upset them. In fact, we felt always that it is not their fault, the kind of government that they have got, the political system or the armed forces that they have. The second was the politicians. And the third is the Pakistan Army. Now, over the years, the Pakistani Army's control over Pakistani politics and Pakistani public has grown, has intensified. And the kind of speech that you are hearing, most unsoldier-like from the army chief, just a few days ago. That shows the kind of confidence that the army has today. Wrong confidence, if I can use that. But the fact is that the way they are behaving today, uh, they have become jihadis. The generation of Asim Munir is Zia children. I always use that because after Zia came, then he started inducting more and more people who have been educated in mosques, who have been educated in jihad, that is showing so clearly on the present army chief. So now what we are doing is that we have realized that it's no use trying to take side of the public, because we probably feel now that the public has to now start working to upset the kind of political system that they have got, the control of the armed forces over the nation that has developed. So we have now targeted in a way that it affects not only the system, but it also affects the public. And that, I think, is a very clear message going from the Indus River Treaty being held in abeyance. Now, as far as the treaty is concerned, yes, what you have said, we have never touched it because it affects the public, the people. But I think the time has now come, and we are now looking at all the elements, all the options are available with us. And one of them has always been Indus River Treaty. And it's not going to affect the public tomorrow because it will take quite some time. But the fact is that by holding it in abeyance gives us greater freedom to do what we want to do with the Indus River water. In fact, as you know, these are the three rivers, Chenab, Jhelum, and Indus, which are affected and which have been flowing into Pakistan without our disturbing the flow of the water. But now, I think, having done this, holding it in abeyance, we will probably be free to do whatever we want with the water, which the Kashmiris want it, which our own western states like Haryana, J&K, and Punjab, they want it. So we will be able to use that. But it's not going to affect the public tomorrow in Pakistan. It's going to take some time.
Yeah, it is more symbolic. Obviously, it's not like a nalka that you can just turn off, but it's important that we remind our audience that the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly has actually in the past passed unanimous resolutions asking for this treaty to be scrapped because they have said ye pani hamare sath rehna chahiye. So it's a very important shift. But now General Malik, as the general who led India to victory in the Kargil war, the nuclear blackmail that has often been used. Now, we are not in 1999. If you remember, in Kargil, Vajpayee did not give the green signal for crossing the line of control, as you have documented in your memoirs, as the air chief of the time has spoken about. But those red lines were shifted with Balakot, with the surgical strikes after Uri, owning them, and those red lines were shifted. But even today, Pakistan obviously banks on nuclear blackmail and believes that India's response will always be contained because it has to be under that threshold. Given those conditions in the region, what do you think India will be examining? And again, I don't want to discuss anything operational, nothing sensitive, but what do you think will be the challenges right now for the Indian military leadership?
Barkha, even during Kargil war, the fact is that we had deployed our forces all along the western border. That was part of our strategy at that time, not only the army, but the navy as well as the air force. And we had put pressure on Pakistan, not only in J&K or Ladakh, but all along the western border. And I knew fully well that there is a, loose talk. There is a lot of loose talk about nuclear weapons in Pakistan. And also, over the years, immediately after that, I had also worked out and propagated strategy of limited war. In fact, it is known to all the people in the armed forces, even others also, that we talked about limited war. And that kind of limited war or action is possible. as long as we can control its escalation, both militarily as well as politically, at a certain stage. We have to be very conscious of that.
Yeah.
So these kind of incidents have been taking place earlier also, despite the nuclear weapons, and probably they will continue. And Pakistan knows it very clearly that if they try and use the nuclear weapons, well, we may lose something, they will lose the whole nation, whole country. And that is no empty threat. I mean, we all understand that. We have that readiness, we have that capability. Now, as far as the actions are concerned, firstly, all these actions, the way we have started, it has to be making use of all the options which are available: foreign, our diplomacy, our political, our economic, as well as the military. And in the military, I should also add both overt and covert. I don't know whether we've been using covert, but the fact is that it should be considered when things of this nature are happening. Now, what is going to happen is, again, when it comes to military actions, it is not a single service action. It's not just Army, Navy, and Air Force. Now we understand it much better that we have to make use of all the military instruments that we have in our country, which are available with us, that they are functioning under one command and control. So we have much better capability today. Now, I'm not going to go into small details as to what we can do, where we can do, or when we will do it. But those are the options which I'm sure are being considered by the CCS. The final order will have to be given by the CCS, Cabinet Committee of Security. But I'm sure all the military elements that we have in the country, they would be discussing, the leadership would be discussing that and finalizing the plans. Let me also tell you that we always have some contingency plans on the western border as well as on the northern border. Now, those contingency plans are available. They need to be brushed slightly, depending on the time, depending on the circumstances. And with the go-ahead, if it is given, when it is given by the political authority, they can be utilized.
I think it's very important that you remind us that even during Kargil, there was troop deployment along the western border. And I also remember from your book and earlier interviews that we had done that you definitely had the option of opening a new front. And you had definitely war gamed and prepared for that. So you're saying nuclear blackmail won't work. The first thing that could happen, may happen, and Pakistan is already threatening it after, they have seen the message from the Prime Minister, is the ceasefire. The line of control ceasefire. Do you believe that it will officially end now or de facto end? Or do you believe that there might be some other route? Because even during Balakot and Uri, it is not as if the ceasefire was officially ended.
Barkha, line of control has never been effective. Because if the Pakistani army is going to assist infiltration, whether of their own people or the jihadi elements, they have always been violating the line of control. The ceasefire on the line of control. It has been happening over and over again. Maybe we have not permitted it to escalate, and we've had a few incidents, and then we have gone back to observing ceasefire from both sides. But the fact is that this ceasefire along the line of control has never been permanent and never been so strong, so to say. So if it is broken now, I don't think we can blame ourselves. It is possible to do that. And therefore, to me, after such incidents that have taken place, where I think Pakistanis have crossed the red line, then I think we can afford to abandon the ceasefire if required.
Let's talk about Asim Munir for a moment. As you mentioned, his unhinged, very communal speech, we can now join the dots to the religious targeting of tourists in Pahalgam and to the sort of Hindu-Muslim divide he sought to make in his speech, pretending as if millions of Indian Muslims don't call this nation their home. When you see the very severe religious targeting, notwithstanding the fact that local Kashmiri Muslims, one of them was killed trying to snatch a rifle from a terrorist. Another one, we have interviewed him. He was running down the mountains with an injured tourist on his back. Notwithstanding all of this, this is his family in mourning, the Kashmiri Adil who died, that's his image, trying to snatch a rifle from the terrorists. So, notwithstanding our interconnectedness as Indians, General Malik, this attempt to drive a wedge between Hindus and Muslims, it's an old terrorist playbook. And these tourists, one after the other, have all confirmed that they were asked to recite the kalma, they were asked their names to ascertain their religious identity. And, you know, today we had a small child talking about the fact that his father was killed and he saw Hindus ek taraf, Muslim ek taraf. So, how do we handle this? It's a very sensitive thing. How do we handle it? Because this is what Asim Munir wanted, and this is what Pakistan terrorists are trying to do.
Look, firstly, I think the most important issue today is, as far as this aspect is concerned, that we have to make our own Muslim community, the Indian Muslims, to understand this. By and large, as I can make out from the comments from different Muslim leaders, also political leaders, they are with us. They also want national security to be given the importance that it deserves. And you know Kashmir, even in Kashmir, things are much, much better than they were some years ago. And you have mentioned the incident yourself. So the wrong thing which has been done in some places, I believe, that some of these Kashmiri students have been targeted, which nobody likes. Even I have criticized that, and apart from so many other people who have criticized that. But coming back to Pakistan, now over the years, Islamization in Pakistan has got intensified, thanks to the cover being given by the Pakistani military, Pakistan Armed Forces. And as I said earlier to you, even Pervez Musharraf, he was not Islamatized as the present generation is. Now that is the difference between those who were leaders before Zia and those who have become leaders after Zia. And today you can make out from Munir's speech what is the difference that has come about in the Pakistani army leadership. There is a distinct leadership, there is a distinct difference in their leadership style. Nobody else mentioned about religion earlier. Of course, they used to go and have their prayers with the troops and everything. That was all right. But the manner in which it has been now stated publicly by Munir, now that is something quite different. And absolutely, I have no doubt that his speech has encouraged a very large number of terrorist organizations. So to that extent, there is a connection between what he has said in public and the way he has ranted and the kind of rhetoric and the things that he has been mentioning, the ranting that he has done. It has encouraged the jihadi elements in Pakistan, particularly the terrorist organizations. And this is what we can expect even in future, as long as people like him are in power.
Let's talk about the geopolitics of the region, because whatever happens next, that is going to be important. Now, China. China has in the past blocked Indian resolutions against Jamaat-ud-Dawa, which is the political front for the Lashkar of the United Nations. China's infrastructure projects run through areas that India considers are. India has had our own tensions with China. We have a fortified Eastern Ladakh dimension because of what happened in Galwan. How China responds to this could be critical, because Pakistan has often been treated as a kind of colony, as a vassal state of China. As India does its outreach, how important will it be to observe how China reacts?
Look, even during Kargil war, China did not openly support Pakistan. If you recall, when the Pakistani Prime Minister went to Beijing, he was not given the kind of support that he expected that they will give him. You know, before going to Washington, he had gone to Beijing. During that Kargil war period. So I do believe that China will support them in United Nations. China will probably support them diplomatically. After all, they have invested so much of money and strategy in Pakistan, and that is at stake for them. But I don't think openly they would support Pakistan or try and give them help, material help, if there is an action from our side. They may give them some intelligence if it is possible, but I don't expect China would want to spoil its relationship with India the way it has now been changed. There is a slight change between India
Yeah.
and China relationship. I don't think they would want to go back on that uh, because of Pakistan, for what Pakistan has done.
What then, sir, in the end, do you think are the priority areas? Because it will have to be a whole of government response. It can't be a single service response. It can't only be political. It can't only be diplomatic. It can't only be military. You have been in this moment before. Kargil was very much like that. It all happens simultaneously. In the next few days, given the Prime Minister's signaling, what should we be on guard for? Because Pakistan may try, for example, more incidents of terrorism in the Kashmir Valley. We don't know. We don't actually know how this is going to play out. It's a very sensitive time. What would be your priority areas to examine at this hour?
Barkha, there are two aspects to it. One is the protection part, the defensive part. Okay, we have to sort it out so that we don't have these incidents occurring the way it has happened day before yesterday. And that means strengthening our unified command and just looking into that as to what has gone wrong, if it has gone wrong, and how to strengthen their intelligence setup, the coordination amongst the services, the armed forces, as well as the police, etc. And so strengthen that protected part. Also, action has already been taken. I felt that when tourist season take place, we had not adequately deployed our troops, our policemen. We were only focusing on Amarnath Yatra, things of that nature. But I think that realization has already dawned, because I heard yesterday the Ministry of Home Affairs now getting into action as far as that front.
So you're saying there should have been higher deployment of troops in high tourist areas like Pahalgam and Gulmarg.
Yes, I feel that, that should have been realized that, look, if there are so many tourists going into those areas, we should have strengthened our protective system in those areas.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't let people go all over the place when we know that there will be some overground workers working for Pakistan or the ISI. The fact is that there are a few, not too many maybe, but there are a few people who are still working at the behest of Pakistan. So that is one aspect as far as the protection part is concerned. The other is we have to do things of the kind that we have done, whether it was Balakot or it was surgical strike, but we have to do it again and again. We have to repeat them. Just doing it one-off is not enough message. We want to give them message that if you indulge in a thing like this, you will also suffer, and you will suffer heavily. So it has to be a strong message to be done, and it has to be repeated again and again, so that they know that, look, something will come on us also. So with that kind of strategy, you will not be able to stop all incidents forever. They will still be occurring, and therefore it is important for us to have the correct protection system also in place. But this other aspect is also, just one Balakot is not going to be helpful. We have to keep repeating this kind of action to effectively harm the infrastructure which is promoting terrorism, cross-border terrorism from Pakistan's side.
Malik, there is one theory that Asim Munir, having been absolutely weakened and diminished by what happened in Baluchistan when the passenger train came under attack, will actually look for this moment with India to try and regain relevance at home, to try and because the Pakistan army defines itself and its existence vis-a-vis India. And therefore, while India responds, India has to respond on our terms and not fall prey to what Munir wants to provoke us into doing. So how do we navigate this? How do we establish that any retaliation is on our terms and isn't giving Asim Munir a new lease of life? Or is that not a concern? Is that we don't care what happens to him? We just have to respond in the way that it suits us.
No, firstly, what you're saying is right, because today it shows frustration on his part. The fact is that Pakistan Army has not been able to put down the kind of activity which is taking place in Balochistan or on the western border in northwest frontier, these places. And it shows the Pakistan Army frustration. And he's a leader, so he can indulge in a thing like this. Psychology, that look, I'm still strong. And there is no doubt that as far as the Pakistan Army is concerned, their complete status that they have acquired over the year, the authority that they have acquired over the year, is only dependent on their enmity with India, and particularly on Kashmir. So they may indulge in a thing like this because of the frustration. But whenever we respond to that, our response has to be very effective and it has to be strong. We couldn't care less what happens to Munir or his types. Okay. But as far as we are concerned, we should have our aim very clear that we will stop terrorism, cross-border terrorism emanating from that. If possible, I would say that bring the Pakistan Army to its knees so that people also realize, the Pakistani people also realize that Pakistan Army is doing a lot of harm to them. That also should be one of our objectives whenever we decide on whatever action that we are taking.
Absolutely. But to bring Pakistan Army to its knees, General Malik, we are talking then of a limited war at the very least.
Yeah, I think so. We have to be prepared for that. Now, how it starts off and how it escalates, I won't be able to talk about that at this moment. But I think some strong message has to go, and let people realize in Pakistan that whatever Munir has done or his people have done, it is going to harm Pakistan also, the public people in Pakistan also. Besides the protecting part, deterring them to do more harm to us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you echo the national sentiment. Before we let you go, there have been other suggestions that have come. For example, we had a diplomat on our platform saying India should now support Balochistan openly. India should support the Baloch movement. That could be one thing. This is like our October 7th. Basically, our strategy has to shift. This is an inflection point and something has to change. What would you say has to be the fundamental change when you say the Pakistan Army now must be brought to its knees? And I agree.
Look, we have to, as I said right in the beginning, that covert action has to be one of the options. And when you indulge in covert actions, you don't declare that I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So whatever we have to do, we should do it, but we need not be open about it. Nowhere in the world you have covert action being owned up by people. So while we do that, if we have to do that, but we did not talk about it, or we did not declare about it. Absolutely. So that kind of an attitude should continue, I suppose.
Thank you, General Malik. It has been a very instructive conversation. The general who led India to victory in the Kargil war, as India stands on the precipice of a very, very strong, bold, definitive retaliation against Pakistan and its backing of terror groups. After the Kashmir terror attack, the Prime Minister has signaled the direction, and General Malik says that we are looking at a Pakistan army that is an army of jihadis and jihadists. This is a post-Zia-ul-Haq phenomena, and this is a moment to bring the Pakistan army to its knees. India could not agree more. General Malik, thank you. Thank you so much. Take care, sir. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Barkha. Thank you. Jai Hind.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.